content.
Exactly. TPS reports. I mean, it varies day to day. So
I
as
like
the
I
project
like
goes
that
on,
poster.
we're working on the creative. I'm the game director on the project. We start on the creative, and then we do the development, and then we do the launch.
The game
That's kind
director
of
looks
why
like a
we're
villager.
talking, because we sent it out to the world a couple of weeks ago on the 28th of October, and so far it's been really exciting. Definitely the smoothest launch we've ever had at Relic. We are also told it's the smoothest launch
Are
that
these
Microsoft's
like
had.
Quinn Duffy
I don't know
and
if they're just
Grant
saying
Wall
that.
are some great
I choose
names.
to believe them. Um,
I gotta say.
If you have
yeah,
praise, always believe it. That's the best thing, right?
yeah, it's been fantastic. I think
You mean painting?
seeing
I
people
don't think
play
it's like a
seeing
digital
people
art.
enjoying it, is hugely validating, and that's one of the things I think as developers we really look forward to.
Totally. It's kind of interesting when you're like not before we had launched, but we were really close, right? And we worked really hard
I'll
and we
take
were
the
really
memes off
proud of what
so
we had done, but we didn't know how the fans would receive it. And this is such a beloved franchise that's been going on for so long. So we really wanted, and we're hoping that we would make them proud and make a game that they just love to play as much as we loved to. So it's just
I'm
been really
especially looking at
exciting,
Elliot, the community
seeing the game
manager.
launch and seeing so much excitement and people just having so much fun playing the game has been super cool.
Yeah, I think that the tough part about launch that we have to deal with as developers is that a lot of our work was kind of finished up several weeks ago. So we've actually, we got the game that's ready to go, and then we start looking at things we know. We start looking at additional beta feedback. We start planning our releases and our patches and all those kinds of things to try and get as much
Somebody
stuff
finally got some
done
background
upfront
music
as
going.
we can, so that we're kind of ready, and then the next part of it is sort of reacting to community feedback and issues and things that come up, and how quickly we can act on those and get things fixed and out to the community.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who's
I'm
leading this
definitely
discussion?
looking forward to future patches because we've been working on refining and improving the process for getting patches out to people. So it's going to get better and better in the future, and I'm just really looking forward to all the awesome stuff that we have planned as well for all the future updates. Is very cool, very exciting changes for people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So obviously, launch was
Grant is also
big
community
moment
manager.
for not only players but all of us on the team as well. For the two of you, what was it like on launch day? Did you enjoy watching launch? Were you stressed out? Were you just scouring everywhere, reading everything?
I was.
Yeah, definitely. There's all of that.
All those things.
Go ahead, Eric. You go ahead.
I was gonna say like my sort of like favorite part from all the launch day stuff is watching all the content creators, because sort of before the game came out, you're always like watching these videos of all the previous games and be like, oh,
How the
I hope they'll talk
turntables
about our
turn.
game like that. I hope they'll make videos about our game. And then actually like seeing all the cool videos people make, like I'm a big nerd, so when they pull out their like notepad and start writing like timings down for like at 1 minute I'm gonna build this unit, and in 5 minutes and 30 seconds I'm gonna make this thing, and I'm like, awesome. But then on the other side of it, there's the videos that people come up with where they get like the perfect conversion and they just take like a massive army of elephants, and then the person's just like, oh man, that was crazy awesome. So yeah, there's been a lot of really cool moments, and really enjoyed just watching people enjoy the game.
I had a slightly different day. I mean, obviously,
Quinn's in
a
charge
few days
here.
before the game launch, we started to see
Game director
reviews,
means
started to see the Twitch
at risk of
YouTube
sounding
videos,
insensitive,
and
he
the
doesn't
content creators,
necessarily do anything.
playing the game, and
He makes sure
super
other
exciting.
people
Like,
do
day of
things.
launch.
Like Eric
We
here.
had a 7 a.m.
Eric
meeting.
gets
The
to
game
actually
went
work on
live at
stuff.
8 a.m. if I recall.
But it
Pacific
all
time,
comes. So Quinn is
we
the
were
scapegoat.
in,
It's Quinn's
a
fault
meeting
right
with,
now. That's
a
my
bunch of
blame is
people at
landing on him a
Microsoft
little.
and watching the thing go live.
But I'm
and
willing to change.
I think it's like those scenes in NASA movies where they're watching the countdown and the rocket going up, and
like the moon.
once it gets I don't know, hits like T-2 minutes or whatever, people are getting kind of nervous, and you're just waiting for the thing to finally turn itself on, then it launches, and you have to wait till it's up into the atmosphere before people kind of breathe a sigh of relief. We had, there's no major issues emerged, and we had 3 or 4
The launch was
days
good.
of like solid back-to-back meetings booked.
All right.
I think by the
launch was
second
good.
day, we were down to
Like
just an
they
hour or
launched the
two,
game
and
they
then, like, we'll
built,
skip the
and it
weekend, there's
didn't.
nothing
It
major
didn't
happening.
like the
I mean, we're
networking
talking,
didn't
like,
break, the
things have
servers didn't
slowed down,
break,
right? We know
people
there's
were able to
issues,
load it.
but
The
not
launch
like servers
itself was
blowing up,
good.
those
I
kind of
agree.
problems. And so that
People
was
who
just
play the game catch on fire.
yeah, that would probably be bad for us. We'd have to definitely hotfix.
That'd be a very, very hot fix.
Hot fix.
Sorry, I had to. Yeah.
Okay, so if I set myself on
Yeah,
fire
really,
and say it's
I think that just
AOE4's
spoke
fault,
to
can we
the,
fix some?
a lot of work the team had done in the weeks leading up to launch. We had those technical betas, right? And we looked at stability issues, and we looked at our how the networking was working, and there was a lot of stuff put in to the game behind the scenes to make sure that stuff works properly and works smoothly on launch day. So there's a tremendous
Launch
amount
day
of
was
work
good.
by the engineering
It
team
worked.
and Relic Link
Like,
and people at Microsoft to make sure and
that is a
to
ton
make
of
sure that
work,
game was going to be
and
smooth.
if it
And
goes well, no one
was gonna
cares, and if it goes poorly,
Yeah, huge
it can
props to
only
those
go
teams.
bad. There
Obviously,
can be
when we
no
had
good. It's
the stress
only
test and all of our
nothing
betas,
or
all of that
bad.
stuff,
Those are your 2 options on launch day.
we have a lot of players, but at launch, the scale, again, as I talk about scale, like launching at that scale is such a different thing. To have
So it
the
went
servers
fine.
stand up to
Like,
that, to have all of these people all at the same time without anything crazy going on was absolutely amazing. Like, they did a great job, and it's so nice to see that. Like, just
I
I've
was
seen
able
so
to
many other
complain
games out
about
there
things in the
where
actual
launch,
game as opposed to
it
being
kinda
denied
catches them
playing
off
it.
guard, the level of players
That
you're
was
gonna see, and
important.
it's so awesome that we were able to keep that going, and like people were in games playing the entire time.
Yeah, and something we can just quickly touch upon. I know that we got a lot of feedback from not just the closed beta, but also technical stress test. A lot of
Let's
work
make sure
went
to
in
call it
between
that, not the
and
open
launch to
beta.
make sure
It
the
was
game,
not an
as,
open beta.
Quinn mentioned and Grant mentioned, to make sure the game was as stable as it can be, and we saw the numbers from that, right? Like we've been pretty it was pretty smooth launch in terms of game stability and such, and that was all due, as Quinn said, thanks to the dev team. Now, I feel like this is a perfect transition to talk about patches and updates because of the feedback we got from there. Eric, do you want to touch a little bit about what is coming up with the roadmap that we had announced today? Grant, I don't know if we should show that first and then
Yeah,
talk a little bit
I've got
about
the roadmap. I'm going to toss that on, so it'll be the roadmap image with all 4 webcams. So we're all still on camera, everyone. No disappearing to the void, Eric, first, please.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. This is risky. I'm probably gonna be frozen when we come back.
All right, so yeah, I've got the roadmap up here. Obviously, we know everyone's really excited about the future of Age 4, so this kind of, today when we got this out, gave you a bit of a peek at what that looks like. As a note, these are, of course, our current plans. Development's an always evolving kind of situation. It's full of surprises. All sorts of stuff can come up. So while this is what we're announcing that we're focusing on right now, there is always a possibility of things to change. So this is,
Eric,
again, roadmap.
Eric doesn't have as much
Who knows what
PR
happens, we might
training
take
as
a different-
everyone
like,
else on
roads
the
change,
screen. That's
paths
why.
change, all this, but this
That's
is
why he
roughly the
seems
target
more
we're
like a
going
real
for here.
person. I don't
Yeah.
blame anyone
And
here.
so as you can see,
Like, this is a
the
tough
patch
thing
that's been
for
released
anyone to
there
do,
has just,
especially with the
definitely not-
AOE4 right
it's
now.
got
Like,
performance fixes and system updates. However, the Winter 2021 update is
I don't envy
coming
them.
very soon, and I think that's something, Eric, you can probably talk a little bit more to, but it has over 100 balance updates. I feel like it
100.
probably kept you
Yeah,
a
but
little busy.
is a balance update like making the
yeah,
tooltip
I mean, I like
work,
to
or
think of this winter update as
stop talking
an
about me
early
like this?
Christmas present for the Age 4 players, because we have a ton of stuff in here, and there's quite a large number of balance updates, but there's just like a huge number of bug fixes in general, like gigantic.
I feel like there's a
massive
lot of
number
overlap on
bug
those two
fixes,
things.
as well as balance to a
Which we've already
slew of
seen.
different areas, and the article talked about a couple of those areas.
So they imply this year as well.
But in general, I think first it'd probably be good just to talk about, like, in general, like, what are we trying to achieve with balance, and, like, you know, kind of like our general vision for it. And what we want for players is that there are not critical path strategies, that players don't do the exact same thing every single time. They feel like they have a lot of different options, and they all feel like they're valid, and they could be, you know, strategically successful. Do I want to try to do like a fast tech? Do I want to try to fast expand, or do I want to get a big army and rush the enemy, right? Like, We want all of these paths to be available for players. And so when we make balance changes, we're either bringing down one strategy that's too dominant, or we're bringing up and buffing strategies that aren't useful or dominant enough. So we're constantly sort of tinkering with the end goal of having tons of different options and cool strategies for players to pick, and they can choose whichever one they want based on the map or the matchup. Or I just think I just froze.
You did. You are now.
He was
frozen.
doing really good. He was
Oh.
nailing it. He was on point.
Let's get you back, Eric.
Maybe
People
just
joining
like
after, they're
he
not gonna
watched
get
it.
the
He shouldn't have looked
context.
at his
No,
own
this is-
webcam. Classic
Oh,
mistake.
While we said that, actually, you say joining after.
He was
so
on a
people
roll.
watching
He
or
was
people
right.
Who coming in now? We will be uploading this as a VOD to the Age of Empires
Yep.
YouTube, so you can tune in there as
Oh.
well afterwards. So that's going to be
Well,
an
I
option.
went to the Twitch.
So to
but
people watching, you'll be like, "What is going on? Why are they calling?"
He was
on
nailing
this
it.
YouTube video being uploaded. Eric,
He's correct.
Hopefully, we'll be back. Oh, there he is. Welcome back, Eric.
Hopefully that
All
doesn't
right,
ruin his
I'm
groove.
here. Hello. Yeah. So to wrap it up, basically what we're trying to achieve, is sure. Ideally, it would be nice to have an exactly 50% win ratio with every single civ. But sort
Talk
of
about maps. Talk
the
about how
higher
maps
or
are
more Key
important.
priority is that people feel like with every civ they play, there are multiple different options and strategies that they can pursue to be successful with. And so to give some sort of specifics to that in terms of what you guys can expect to see for the winter update, for the Delhi civilization, we've tweaked a bit of how the scholar mechanic works. So at a baseline with the scholar mechanic, the more scholars you put into your mosques, the faster all your texts will research.
Okay.
However, we identified a problem where the civilization feels like early game, you don't have very many scholars, so all your researches take a really long time. So you feel kind of like
This is a
behind
very obvious
starting
problem.
off early game. And it also generally is just like, yeah, it's free, but it feels like the time cost is so long. It barely even like feels like a reward or a cool bonus. You actually kind of feel like you're penalized a bit. So early game, we're finding Delhi was just too weak because their research was too slow. And then late
Yes.
game, the civilization just explodes because there's a huge number of texts to research in the Imperial Age, and they are extremely expensive. So you get a massive power spike with Delhi when you reach that last stage.
Okay.
So to combat this problem and sort of to open up the number of different strategies.
Okay.
that the Civ
I
has-
don't know. Let's play balance designer. All right. So he's. It seems like he's gonna give quantitative information. I haven't seen this. I don't know what they're saying. How would I handle that? I would just. Let me think for a moment. How would you handle that in a way that makes Delhi not overpowered in 1v1, but still gives them viability in the early and late game? Without just feeling like a clunky mechanic. And there are multiple ways to go about it. What you don't want to do is just take it from other parts of like the economy and stuff like that. You don't want to just be like, well, maybe you garrison villagers or scholars are cheaper or something like that, because that just kind of moves where the problem is. Other options would be like being able to research multiple texts at once, or adjusting the amount of time it takes to, like in AOE 2, you can adjust the time it takes for certain research, or like the Chinese mechanic, how you can supervise and tech goes super quick. Kind of feels like Delhi should have something like that, where they can focus all their efforts on one tech instead of having a baseline slow amount for other techs. Because like wheelbarrow takes 6 minutes if you have no scholars. So it takes I believe it's 1 minute and 15 seconds for every other civ. So like maybe having a focus line or something like that, like kind of like the Abbasids have the trade wing or the economic wing, having an option like that for Delhi. Maybe something that's visible to the enemy, like the mosque is near a lumber camp, so lumber techs, like, because you have the risk of bleeding into the other civs, because Delhi actually kind of bastardizes a lot of the mechanics from Abbasid. They have very similar, because they spread their influence over an area that they're supposed to connect their buildings, which allows them to get increased benefits over time. So it does feel very similar in that. So honestly, instead of worrying about the tech option, I think like a Dark Age or a Feudal Age unique unit, like the other civs are able to build, or maybe something that a unique building that villagers can construct. I don't know what it'd be. Just something they can do that the other civs cannot. I'm trying to think of exactly what you do besides tweaking the numbers. But right now, Delhi just feels like turtle up and try not to die. So they're trying to switch that. It is just tweaks at this point to an extent. The easiest way would obviously be just changing the tech per civilization. Like if we could have the technology, I know, puns intended, that Delhi Dark Age techs take half the time, is that like a huge deal? I don't think so, because no one's rushing scholars in the Dark Age, right? Like, I accidentally, where were we? I'm sorry. I didn't know you could have hotkeys on VODs. Wow. Like, I think something, well, the best would be just making Delhi techs, the easiest and best would be making Delhi techs take less time in the Dark Age and more time in the Imperial Age. But they really seem to like to have the same price for everything throughout the ages for all the civs, which means that the big differences between the civs come in these super strong units rather than the more flavor that you see in AoE2, where maybe it's a better unit, but maybe it's a unique mechanic, like the Khmer Farms or something like that. So, I think the easiest way is just actually just changing the numbers. A decent way would be adding like another unique building or kind of like a stopgap sort of thing. And the worst way would be like just some blanket fix across the board that buffs them in the earlier ages. So you were at 49.15. So I want 10 seconds. Oh, so arrow keys move. Did you know that on Twitch VODs, which no one watches, arrow keys move you 10 seconds? How convenient.
Available to them, we have tuned the research time so that at the beginning of the game, you'll be able to research text faster. But at the end of the game, you'll research text slower. So you'll need more scholars later on in the game if you want to have a fast research rate like you're used to. So there's sort of more opportunity costs, more investment to get those late game texts faster, if that's what the playstyle you like.
Awesome.
People watch them, they don't watch yours? Yeah, they watch mine live and ask if it's live.
Just
this is a rerun, by the way.
Again, anything else you want to tease a little bit more? That was definitely something
more
new that we added in.
tease me, Eric. Eric, tease me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
tease me.
Oh no!
I want to be teased.
I don't know how long you want me to like talk for, like before you want to cut me off. But like,
just a couple lines.
Yeah.
That's it.
We have hundreds of changes. I don't want to spoil everything about all the changes. But,
no, spoil everything so we can figure out what shit is not a good idea. Spoil it all.
So
okay, maybe not all, but like a lot of it.
We gotta wait.
Holy fuck! Like
update. Totally.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. Sometimes there's a blurry line between is it a balance change, or is it like a bug fix? And some things it's kind of both. So, for example, with the English network of castles,
wait, what?
There's an issue where it's sort of applying the bonus inconsistently. And there are some units that weren't even like getting a bonus from Network of Castles. So this is the bonus whenever any of your troops are nearby, they'll attack.
I like
they'll
Eric.
attack faster when enemies show up, and you see the
Eric seems to have the idea.
Like late the signal fire, they're coming kind of thing. So
ding.
this bonus like wasn't even applying to like man-at-arms at all. And
yeah, I knew that bug. I just thought it was only supposed to work with longbows.
Well. So it was like it's kind of like
I just assumed it was only supposed to work with longbows.
Bonus they were getting from it in a lot of cases. So that bonus is now applying evenly to your entire army, which is quite a nice bonus for the English civilization. So we're really, really happy, really excited to get that bug fix in.
Yeah, that's a balance and bug fix. He's right.
Things. Let's see for the.
Oh, he's got. Is that?
So I'm actually quite excited about this RAM change that we made. The RAM unit is.
Oh, no. No. Okay. My number one is Rams. Okay? If they have Rams, let me buy the same tech and ram his Rams. I'm gonna go ahead and guess that's not what it is. I'm all over the Rams now, though. That is my strat. Like, you know how much a RAM costs? Exactly one RAM. Balance. That's what balance is. But what is the actual issue? Well, another thing is I hope they explain whether the town center should be targetable. That is a big part of why RAM pushes are so strong. You can't target the archers in the back, only the RAM. I do agree that the RAM should be strong against early expands and greedy plays, but right now it feels like you have a choice of losing your villagers or losing the game, which is not really a choice. Even if you didn't expand, it's very hard to hold in certain scenarios. The RAM is too fucking strong. The RAM is strong in Imperial, and it doesn't get buffed at any point. It's the same RAM you could build in the Feudal Age is good in Imperial. That's the point. So obviously, something like a scaling, like one would be the RAM itself upgrading over the ages, maybe from the Siege Workshop, maybe from the Blacksmith. Wouldn't, like, because the first upgrade is from the Blacksmith. The second is giving you, well, one, the textiles upgrade, I think, is a big part of it. The textiles upgrade, you get 25 more villager HP. It needs to be more vulnerable to things that you would realistically have. Like, you can't go archer. The archers do no damage. The villagers do damage, but they can't fight the army. So either less HP on the RAM, more anti-RAM damage from early game units. I would go with less HP on the RAM in the Feudal Age and then be upgraded or automatically upgraded. Fine, whatever. Make it still strong, like, but a RAM undefended or an army. The problem right now is if they have 10 archers, 10 spears, you have 10 archers, 10 spears, and they have a RAM. They've spent 300 more wood, which is 6 archers of wood. Okay. But now you have to lose like 15 villagers to kill the RAM. Or you have to fight there. Either way, you're losing. Like, it's ridiculous. So, I think if the RAM, in one way or another, is easier to kill, and also gets upgraded through the ages to still make it decent, or the AI gets upgraded so it works, and also, like, one part of it is a bug fix so that archers don't target the RAM so easily. The town center targeting the RAM is, I don't know. I don't think they're going to fix that. It really doesn't feel like something they're going to fix, unfortunately. But I hope I'm wrong. I want to set that up. Maybe I'll be wrong, and I'll be very excited. Like, it's just the investment almost always pays off, even if you don't, like, win the game off it. It's almost never a risk. You need to make it a risk, and you need to make it at least as much effort to get the damage done, or close to it, as it is to defend. So make it easier to kill it, but not so easy to kill that it is a non-issue. So how do we do that? I think it'll be like less HP and upgraded through the ages, and then, I don't know, takes more damage from torches or some shit. Like,
we see a lot of it being used early and mid game, where people use the infantry to construct the rams in the field, and then they're able to attack the enemy and like smash down a bunch of their buildings. But once you sort of get on to the Imperial Age, you generally don't see rams at all because it like takes up 3 population.
that is a problem.
And it has to get into like melee
still like
range,
'em.
which is
They're still
not
good.
very good because it has strong ranged armor, but actually the Imperial Age units are just so powerful they can kind of knock through
I hadn't
that
thought
armor
about
pretty quickly
the
and just
supply
kind of
there.
off the rams. So we have
Rams.
tried to crystallize the role of the ram so that it's more vulnerable to torches and it can take more hits from ranged stuff, especially later. So
More
it
hits?
has more ranged armor, so it can take a bunch of hits from ranged stuff.
It
like
already
most things
takes
is gonna do
infinity
closer
hits.
to 1 damage, but it has less hit points. So that means things that have torches will be able to kill the ram a little bit faster. and then to help sort of make it so that you can build them later on in the game, they're now 1 population cost instead of 3 population cost.
He's in the right. He's going in the right direction.
Easier, like later in the game,
This is the right direction.
throw in a couple rams and not eat up, a huge chunk of army space with them. So
no, I
we've
agree.
been seeing a lot more in our internal test games of people getting to the last age.
I don't get
rams.
rams.
A bunch of rams, like with an infantry army, and then assaulting that way.
I don't get my rams, but
use, like
it's addressing the issue.
It's opened up a lot of cool, diverse strategies, and it's made it so that the ram sort of feels a bit more fair to early game when you have a bunch of torches. It felt like it was so hard to get through and bust down the ram. So that change has been
fine.
really good.
All right,
for
Eric.
Sort of
Eric, you're 2 for 2
across all the different ages, and
it fixed. No.
It's just really.
It depends on the exact number, but right now it takes somewhere around like, I will tell you the exact number, because it is important. So the number of villager attacks it takes to kill a ram. How many attacks does it take? For all the people like, just kill it with villagers like that. It doesn't cost anything to have your villagers not working and dying killing the ram, which is always a fun thing that people say. But the numbers obviously matter a lot. Dun, 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 dun. So right now, these are not listed in game, which is another issue. But here, through the power of technology, no, Jimmy, not that. Here we are. Da-na-na. Da-na-na. Currently, the ram has 900 HP. The villager torch does 10 damage. It takes 90 villager attacks. The standard torch does 13 in the feudal age. So it takes, I don't know, like 70 other attacks. So if you have 20 villagers, all you can garrison in the town center, with a villager attack every 2 seconds, okay? So let's do the math on this one. So if 90 villager attacks with full 20 fucking villagers, it's like half your economy. Notice plus 10 to siege. Okay, 20. I'm sorry, I apologize, 20. 20 with 20, 400. So it takes all your villagers 3 attacks, 6 seconds to kill a ram. That definitely doesn't feel right. It's because they need to get within range of the ram, and they got to get all the attacks off. And the fact you can't ungarrison, it's not as bad as I thought. Yeah. With 20 villagers, which usually you have less than 40, that is still 6 seconds your villagers have to be attacking the ram where they can shoot you with arrows. If you get all the villagers attacking the ram, it's okay. But minimum, you lose all that time. And what if they have 2 rams? I know, right? What if they have 20 longbows? These are the issues. It's not like the rams are coming in on their own. So I think, yeah, these numbers don't really support my point. It sounds like a lot more than it is. But in the game, it is ridiculous how hard it is, especially for the civs. So part of the issue here, which I wonder if we'll touch on, is that some civs just have worse units. Like, Chinese does not have better archers at comparable cost, importantly, and does not have better infantry than English. Horsemen don't counter spears or rams at cost at all, and they're not great against archers. So, like, you just have worse units, and you have to pull villagers. Like, it combines to make it almost impossible to get past a certain phase of the game. So, that is the issue. And why am I defending myself? They said they're doing it. Yes, I support. Fuck you guys.
To build rams.
Thank you, Eric.
For some reason, I just really get a kick out of that. I really love doing that.
I've come around.
Perfect. Thank you, Eric, for a few more extra tidbits of
No,
things. Maybe we'll ask
just
a couple
everyone
more
else
later
leave.
on if we've
Eric,
got
stay.
time. There's a couple
Yeah,
things
I got a
want to
couple more I
discuss
want
'cause
to, but yes, thank you for cutting me off.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. Eric wants to stay too. Oh. Eric, you've said too much. No, I want the Eric podcast.
We can't give too much right now. We will have more later. Yes, as Quinn says, like,
down.
that's enough. That's enough there.
Cut the feed for Eric. Go
answer some-
dark.
Oh, Eric's gone dark
Eric,
again.
DM me.
Oh no, your mic muted too. What happened?
To answer some questions here, though, we had some chat about the bug technologies. Specifically, I think we're talking about an exploit that has been surfacing today.
Email me.
It's something the dev team is aware, and
I'm
we
only
are tracking
like
and investigating on this
60%
end.
joking. Maybe
so
less.
We are investigating what we
gotta-
can do on that side as well. I see some.
Eric was
few
on a
questions
roll.
here on
He
hitboxes
got
and
frozen.
selections.
He got
It is
frozen by his
something the team is
webcam, and he got
tracking
frozen by
and
everyone else
working
on the screen.
So we will have an update right now.
That's-
but as
wow.
we get towards
Shutting him down.
somewhat of an update for that, we will be able to talk a little more.
We're seeing the
about
development
that.
process in action.
Yeah, selection is definitely something we constantly want to be
Yep.
improving, and we do have a couple of improvements for 1.2. We were able to sneak in a couple, like the relics were like really hard to click on. They had such a small.
Where's the
Where's the
Eric?
mute, Eric?
What the fuck?
How is this a mute Eric situation? You know what the best case scenario is? They plan this bit. Like, this was a bit they planned, and Eric's gonna say anything anyways. I hope that's the case. Super cringy if it is, but that's a better option than...
We got to make sure
right.
we get some questions going Quinn's way as well. Quinn's just over there. He's like, "Come on,
Yeah,
Eric,
well,
it's my turn."
I hope it was
I
scripted.
noticed a couple of questions.
That
in
would
the-
be
in the
better.
Chat as Eric was chatting, talking.
Rambling is the word, really. Yes. Go
yeah.
on.
They were coherent points.
Just maybe just a little bit about the process.
That's not what rambling
of
is.
Patches and of hot fixes and other things. Obviously, we've got a new game, we've got a new environment. We're wanting to improve in a number of those areas. But the most important thing when we look at changes to the game, updates, and whether they're patches or whether they're the introduction of new features as we go through development over time.
When
on
the
game,
villager over here is like, let's be
is
realistic
maintaining
here. Don't get their
stability, that
expectations
the
too
game
high
has
with
to
these real, actual positive
Most
changes.
importantly, it has to stay up and running, and so we take that very
Totally.
seriously. And so the patches go through a considerable process, and it's not perfect, right? Nothing ever is. But we want
They've
to
already
maintain
said the patch
stability
will be
so
this
that people can
year.
actually
They've
continue to
heavily
play. We would
implied the
hate
patch will be
to
this
rush
year.
a fix and break something,
Like,
and
mid-December.
and have the game crashed.
So, like, a month from now.
Years ago on some of our other games, we would do a ton of patches, but half of the patches we would do were fixes for the patches
You know,
we had
at
done
risk-
previously, and we
so,
don't want to end up in
You
that.
know who Eric reminds me of that also got a ton of shit in StarCraft 2, but had a similar personality? David Kim. David Kim, the balance designer of early StarCraft 2, was always like super excited to talk about stuff and in like almost like an anxiety inducing way, because he obviously was super passionate about it. Like, a lot of people disagreed with him, but he obviously cared and put a ton of work in. So, like, I see it there.
situation on Age of Empires. So it's sometimes even we have to be patient, right? We're like, well, let's get it done.
Be
It's like, well,
patient.
we have to test,
Shut
we have
up,
to test
Eric.
The game. Microsoft has
I'm
to
being
test it.
unfair.
We've got,
He's right. Quinn is
Steam,
right
we've got
here.
Game Pass. We've got Windows Store. There's a lot of different environments to work in and test against. So I hope people understand
Make
that
sure
our
you're muted.
the most critical part of this step is just making sure that the game stays up and running and stable through this whole
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, that's the
Absolutely.
biggest thing. We don't want any downtime, right? Like, we want people to be able to jump in and play the game whenever they hop on to play, right? So, another thing to mention, I think Eric had brought it up earlier, but to Quinn's point, like, we are refining the process. We do expect things to improve as we
Refineries
continue to go through this process. But yeah, as you can see, we've been working hard on this upcoming update on the roadmap here. Couple questions as well I have to throw over to Quinn. This is not super important, but chat wants to know what your cats' names are while I pull the next question up.
Good question.
There's
Fair question. I will judge him.
Pepper.
Who?
She's the little cat, and
Say
then there's
Timber?
Ninja, who is the big black cat. There's Pepper.
Pepper.
She's the little cat.
Not
and
super
then there's
original.
Ninja, who is
But I like
the
it.
big black cat. Were they doing something nasty behind me? I didn't.
No, brother. Just
okay.
people love cats. Like, that's just what it is.
Are cats a viable
so
anti-ram
glad,
unit?
because
Add cats.
It
Yes.
happens, right? Yeah, they're.
There has to be one of the civs that
kids
like
named them,
cats,
and
right?
You
Like,
get a big black cat, and they called him Ninja.
what is your
It's like,
plant's name, Eric? Tell us the plants. Are those
not the
hockey
most-
sticks?
They don't have the most
Does
creative
he have
names,
hockey
but no,
sticks?
those are their
Those are
names.
hockey sticks, right?
Yeah.
And a plant.
So actually, another question we had here.
And the other
was,
200 square feet of his apartment are also
specifically,
amazing.
Is like what is the process for the dev team now that like we're clearly well into now post launch? Like what does the dev team now like focus or shift gears on, or what do they work on as we shift from leading up to launch and then getting the game ready into now we're providing, like as you saw with the roadmap, a lot of work. So can you guys dive a little more into that?
You mean
Yeah,
your jobs aren't done already? That's not it? You're not done? There's still stuff to go?
Yeah, it's like
it's nobody gets any time off. Nobody gets. Yeah, I mean there is we started that transition earlier, as I mentioned. So there is a live team, and they will be analyzing community feedback.
Quinnsbeard is
working
just
with World's
upscale.
Edge. They're using
Okay. That's the villager
various
model.
kinds of metrics, community sentiment. They're working with the community team. They're going to keep the game alive, fresh, and support the
Maybe don't
the
lead with that
community
word.
in terms of delivering on feedback and requested features and those kinds of things. Obviously, the balance team is going to keep looking at the state of the game and as Eric said, trying to keep the meta interesting and keep the critical paths to a minimum and just get the game to a finer and finer state of balance and competitiveness and just interesting gameplay. Those are all critical things. And then there's other parts of the team doing other things. So
Yeah, and in terms of like how we sort of like execute and achieve those things, it's great having you guys on the community team, to be able
That
to
seems like a
constantly
point
be
you
seeing
follow
what
up.
people are sort of
Maybe-
bubbling to the top in terms of like what is it that you guys want to see, what are the impediments to the gameplay, like what kind of improvements do you guys want to see? So we have that angle from you guys, we
Can
have
I-
sort of our high level competitive team, that's able to analyze
So when
and
I have two
diagnose
prelates,
sort of like critical
and I only
gameplay
want to select
problems at the
one
top.
prelate.
And then we also
Okay.
have our business sort of intelligence, metrics and data and stuff like that, right? So we can see, like what are the win rates of these civs? How often is this unit being built? How many kills is this unit getting? What landmarks are people
you have that
building? What
information?
technologies are they researching? So
Do we
all
have
that
this
sort of
info?
stuff, all those different data points all sort of goes into our analysis of figuring out what are the biggest balance issues and what is it that we want to tackle next.
I mean, it sounded like fluff,
Awesome.
but that was
Yeah,
real
and
a real answer.
Just wrapping up kind of the winter update that we've got there as well. There's a few other things.
There's a weird
You can go to the blog
Pavlovian
post,
response
so you can
from
get
me
that
on
posted
this.
in chat, hopefully for you.
And
but it's
yeah,
on the
that I
Agent
didn't
Emperor's
think of
website.
that a
It will
long
let you
time
take
ago.
A little bit more of a look at what's. It breaks things down a little bit more than just some bullet points here. It goes into a bit more detail. But for things such as in-game scores, we know that this is something the community's wanted. Actually, during the launch window, I was just basically burying myself in the forums, reading not only bug reports but also discussions,
wrote on the
feedback,
forums.
everything people talked about there.
I
And this
didn't
is
write
definitely
under
one of the
my
things we did
name.
see people asking about is the in-game score, having it as an option. I know not everyone necessarily wants to play with it on. It does change a little bit about the strategy or how you play. But it is kind of something that's existed, so you're going
They do
to
interact
have
on the
that as an
forums,
option
which
on a
is why I was
case-by-case
so
basis
frustrated with
in
the public
lobby
response.
for multiplayer and skirmish matches.
Like they were responding
So that's, I think, one of the great changes.
and
That's
at
one of
least
the things is
acknowledging
we
things
are
on the
listening, we are
forums
there,
that almost nobody
everyone in the community,
reads.
like, please do keep your feedback, please do keep your suggestions, your bug reports, all of this coming in. We might not hop up and immediately say, hey, we're looking at this, or hey, we're fixing this right away. We have kind of our own processes, so things do sometimes take a bit of time for us to get things looked into, get an answer for you, but these are things, all of your feedback.
That's like
it is
not a
so
good
helpful for us to share with the
response,
team,
but
and
at
that's one
least
of the
you're
things,
saying it.
That both
That's
Elliot,
not
myself,
fluff.
and
Like that's a
Annie, who's not on
terrible
stream here, the three
response.
of us
Okay,
are
not terrible. That's
scouring
not a
all of
good
this, as well as
response,
our
but
friends
like
over
at
on
least
World's
he's
Edge
saying
side
it
of this as well.
honestly.
So
I'll give
we're
him
all
that.
keeping an
Yeah.
eye on your feedback.
It's gonna
so
take a
valuable.
while.
the whole team is.
But that's our
too. I mean,
process.
yeah,
Yeah, whole team, yeah.
You guys are doing great, but there's a lot of people
Okay,
on the
fine.
team that play
Like
and are
fine.
reading Reddits and they're watching YouTubes and et cetera, et cetera.
Forums, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Forums, yeah, and we were talking about this exploit that emerged what seemed like just a few hours ago, I've been seeing the
Oh yeah,
chat
infinite
windows
money
popping up
exploit.
from our teams on from the team,
Yeah,
talking
that's a
about
bit
how
of an
we're
issue.
capitalist. So when
For
things
example,
get
the other-
raised, somebody's going to see them, somebody's going to track them,
Mhm.
and we're going to look at them.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, people want to know things right away, but there are processes. We have to make sure we're doing things the right way. We have to make sure what we're doing doesn't break the game. As mentioned, for
Yeah.
example, when we're doing updates to stuff,
That's good. That's
we
a
don't
good
want to
idea.
rush to fix
Don't wanna
something,
break
and then
it
that breaks
anymore.
everything and have to do another fix on top of the fix. We don't want to have this compounding issue. We want to, as a team, make sure we're there. So that is part of that. The in-game player scores.
If every fix is a multi-week process to make sure one thing doesn't break 10 other things, though, that is a problem. So hopefully that is not a constant issue.
We want to bring those. We saw the feedback for that, as well as minimap adjustments. There's a bunch more you can read as well on the blog post for that kind of stuff. Yeah, so that's what's going to be coming, or a taste of what's coming in winter 2021. With
I hate using this
all of
word,
that
but you
included
gotta
in
be
balance updates. Eric went
robust.
into a little bit more in detail there. Eric, no more
Possibly the
details, we've
most
given
I've
them enough.
ever
They
used
can
that
wait
word
and
in
see
context.
The patch notes when those come.
It's not very robust.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll do. Great plan. Very excited though. Like, we have so many great changes, and Christmas is coming early for Age of Empires 4 players.
That's why you released the game in October. We already know that. But thank you for saying that.
This update is going to be great. You guys are going to love it. Very
Yeah.
excited.
You know what's the best
think
part
we're
is
gonna
we
have
try
to.
we try to keep that ambiguous.
Shut up,
but,
Eric!
like,
Quinn, give us a
for more
realistic
hint- yeah, Eric is your
timeline.
guy. Yes, Eric is your guy, which is also why this may be his last time he's joining us on stream.
What?
No, please.
No, jokes.
I love
jokes
coming here.
aside,
No, he's
Eric,
reading
we
chat.
love
He's
you,
reading
Quinn,
chat.
Zach, like, we've had a number of folks
But he
on, and we're
did
gonna
choose
actually
to read that
more
message,
team
which is an
members on
interesting
as we
choice.
Continue to go
I don't-
through post-launch and into obviously making sure the game is well supported. But we're gonna have some other.
As
devs
you guys
who
know, I don't
traditionally
choose to read
join
every
us on stream.
message.
Brent,
Yeah.
I think me and you chatted a little
Yeah,
bit
we're
about
going to try to
getting
bring some more people
potentially
on.
even the
Ooh,
audio
ooh.
team. I know a lot of people have a lot
Yes,
of love
I
for
like.
the audio
I just want
of
to
the game, so
compliment
we're
the
actually
audio
gonna-
team.
we
The
are
audio
working to
team did a
get,
very good job.
them on to possibly
I have
talk
no
a little bit about
complaints on the audio.
design and the work that went behind it. So stay tuned for that. No promises yet when, but we have talked about it. So
Yeah, for sure. So, and I
You know
did
who
see.
turns out to be really interesting people? Engineers. Should get some of the
Yeah.
get some of the
Yeah,
programs.
we
Maybe
definitely-
don't get them to
We
talk
definitely
though.
will.
You don't.
We definitely will.
Mm,
There's a number of them that we have to do, but we also have to do our.
They're
regular
gonna need-
community
they're gonna
streams,
need some
it's
pregame
gonna
on
be-
that.
It's gonna be some process, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We Grant and I started talking about how do we get
Yeah.
more of our Relic team, as well as World's Edge, joining in on to chat more about the technical stuff that went behind the game, as well as obviously important stuff like the balance and the gameplay.
Yeah, and it comes down to as well timing, making sure we're getting people when they're free and when they can join us on stream. We don't want to be like, hey, stop what you're working on
Okay,
right now.
don't
Come
don't
join the
spend
stream.
more than
I mean, that's
10%
what
of
we
the
do to Eric,
stream talking
but-
about the logistics of streaming.
Yeah.
Eric, stop it.
I love coming on whenever you guys
Eric-
want
Eric,
me.
chat's demanding for you, so get over here.
Glad to see that the mainstream
Yeah.
actually is
is
on the same page here.
Press tour that we've
Oh,
been
yeah.
on for pre-launch
Yeah.
and stuff. I think today, even just today, you were in an interview. Not going to talk much about it, but the fact that even post-launch we're still fielding a lot of interviews is pretty pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and I did see a bit unrelated to
fun.
the interview side, but I did see in chat someone asking about the best place to give feedback, and definitely the forums are the best way. It's also great because if someone has similar feedback or you're not sure about something, you can actually search there as well. So we do like, if you have feedback, try
Searching
to keep it in
forums
a
is
thread if one
not-
exists. Otherwise, definitely give us as much detail
He's
as
like,
possible
"Please."
there. You can add screenshots.
Yeah, we know the
It's
Chinese
easily
dynasty
searchable for us.
thing. We
It's
have
the
a
best
bullet
way.
point. Please
Some
stop.
people do
Like,
share, like
please.
feedback on Discord. We do read it. It's a lot harder, so we do prefer in the
Discord's
forums.
hard. Any kind of live chat. Yeah,
They have a
it's
Discord?
really hard for us to track down and collect the feedback.
It's a great way to talk
best
with
part-
other people,
yeah.
though. If you want to ask
Yeah,
someone, like, "Are you
yeah,
seeing
for
this?"
It's mostly
or
like,
blah, blah,
we
blah,
get
like,
it.
all
The
that kind of
Chinese
stuff is fine,
dynasty
but
thing.
definitely
We
if you're
get.
sending
Oh my
something
god.
our way to take a look at. The forums are probably the best and first place you should post that.
No, Discord is a
before anything
disaster
else.
for actual feedback for like if you have more than 12 people involved.
Yeah.
Let's
Also, I
be
read
honest.
a comment in here. I think we're going to have to patch our roadmap because we have winter and spring, and somebody's like, "Hey, the southern hemisphere, that's super confusing for us."
Oh,
Oh
no.
yeah.
Yeah. So all
Wait, we actually know
all our
what's funny about that?
Australian and Brazilian fans.
They're
and
used to
everything.
it.
Sorry,
Isn't
guys.
everyone
Yeah.
from America?
Yeah, no, we talked
Ranting
about it
next
like
time.
this. We're referring to it from us being in the Pacific time zone of this season's.
Yeah, they are.
Maybe might hurt to put a little asterisk to put a little tongue-in-cheek comment as to why. But yeah, no, definitely something we flagged Turk on his side. If you understand, so
Okay.
it's,
Point.
but yeah.
Point.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's
world.
a lot of stuff coming here in the roadmap. Again, blog post there's so much more detail. We probably don't want to dig into every single thing super deep on here, but one of the things
Why not?
I know people are excited about is the UGC creation tools for mods and similar things like that. So those
Everyone
will be
knows
coming in the
everyone's in
spring
California.
update. You'll be able
And
to create your
Seattle
own
is just
stories,
greater
you'll be able to do
California.
mods, maps, and all of that, which will help expand gameplay further. That is obviously something we want to make sure is in the right state,
Eric
and we wanna make
already
sure that
gave
it's
more
ready
information than the
for
entire
everyone to
blog
give it to,
post.
so that's gonna. Our team is basically making sure that that's all good for the
I've read the
spring
blog
update.
post, or what there is of
then
it.
Beyond that, seasons is the big thing. There's going to be a lot more information on those coming at a later date, so we don't necessarily want to dive too much into it here on stream.
Yeah,
because it is a
seasons
thing that we
begin
wanna-
is notably
again, it'll be
not
announced and
tied
you'll
to
be able to kind of
spring.
look more into it, but it's a good
It
way
is
to
more of a
work over
eventually
kind of
thing.
a number of weeks in game to
Though I
compete
don't know if
and
that's
make sure we
intentional.
can
It gives me
progress
the
in
vibe
seasons
of like
versus
maybe
onwards.
not spring. Like
Good
Okay.
stuff. Excited about seeing people playing some
Eric,
high-level. competitive
no,
matches
it's
tonight.
Elliot's job. Elliot does the next
Yeah.
thing. He's got the next
Uh,
Actually,
topic.
that's a good segue. I was gonna actually.
Thank
ask
you,
Eric,
Elliot.
But
You see, I'm a
obviously,
professional.
we saw and like the dev team was also
Eric's
been
like-
watching Genesis. But do either of you guys have thoughts of the tournament and the results?
Obviously,
and
they're
whatnot?
trading up. They planned this before. It's a
It
dev
was-
stream.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Quinn.
Well, I was just going to say, I think you know, we'd been asked the questions about esports and whether we were designing for.
Some people made
for,
some
you know, for
videos about
esport
it.
a lot leading up to launch, and I think the answer was that it relied a lot. We had to try and make a fun game and something that people would enjoy watching, and you know, that there was some cool depth. You know, I mean, the important stuff about making a game. But that esports are something that would emerge organically. If people liked the game, they would play. The pros would come and play it, and that would emerge. And I think it feels like we're
For
seeing it, like there's some
$20,000.
really exciting developments and some really exciting gameplay. And
The gameplay is
I
good.
love seeing that, and I think very pleased to see
It's just
the
hard
number
to
of high-level
actually
competitive players
play
engaging
it.
with the game
And-
and giving us feedback, and you know,
That's
inspiring
where we
us
are.
with some of their, you know, some of their moves and some of their play, and we've seen great memes emerging and you know, a lot of cool videos. So we're all sharing that kind of stuff. It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it's been so cool seeing players from all these different backgrounds and stuff. You know, like RTS, MOBA, all kinds of games. Those people coming to our game.
Name
and playing
one
it and
MOBA
loving
player.
It is super fun. And just in terms of like, you know, some of the results, it was interesting to see from the
RTS like
tournament.
StarCraft, Age of
You know, a lot
Empires,
people
and
were saying,
also
we're talking about how strong French
StarCraft 2.
was,
Like,
and, you know, we were having a lot of discussions and stuff about it, and so it was very interesting to see the pick rate of French was really, really high, but the win rate of French was not really, really high. Like they really weren't like winning a crazy amount, like relative to how often they got
Sing
picked.
Sing?
So it was cool.
Sing
you know,
Sing
getting
is
to,
a-
to see
oh, wait,
some
yeah,
of that
yeah.
data and like dig into.
oh, I don't
that.
think of
And,
Dota
you know,
as
we're still having a
MOBA.
lot of
I think of League of
conversations
Legends.
based on that tournament of like what changes.
I
and stuff
apologize.
we need. Probably the
I guess
biggest
there are
thing
some more players.
that,
All right,
you know,
fair
we've
enough.
just been seeing a lot is how often people are making the
Dota's a lot
Springald
closer to
unit,
RTS
and
than League.
the intent of the Springald unit is a unit that counters siege weapons, but we've sort of been seeing
They're control
that,
groups.
it is more of a generalist type of unit is how it's performing
No,
in
I
the game
played
right
Visage.
now, where it's kind of just generally pretty good in a lot of different situations. So that is something in the future we'll be looking
I'm
at.
sorry, I
in
didn't.
terms
I,
of
he said
making
something.
how it
Eric's
just-
talking.
the-
Back to when Eric started
so
talking.
really say we're talking about how super fun. Back
And
I wasn't
and
listening at all.
I feedback and sharing that kind of stuff. It's
all kinds of games.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's been so cool seeing players from all these different backgrounds.
I got caught
and
on
stuff.
this
You know, like
Just intro bit.
RTS, MOBA, all kinds of games. Those people coming to our game and playing it and loving it is super fun.
Okay,
And just
technically.
in terms of like, you know, some of the results, it was interesting.
He's right.
to
Eric's right.
see
I'm wrong.
from
I'm
the
sorry.
tournament
Get used to it.
You know, a lot of people were talking about how strong French was, and you know, we were having a lot of discussions and stuff about it, and so it was very interesting to see the pick rate of French was really, really high, but the win rate of French was not
Okay.
really, really high.
All right.
Like
Now the
they really
obvious
weren't, like,
conclusion
winning
is-
you know, a crazy amount, like relative to how often they got picked. So it was cool, you know, getting to see some of that data and like dig into that, and you know, we're still having a lot of
Everybody
conversations
spent their entire ladder
based on that
experience playing
tournament of
French.
like what changes and stuff we need. Probably the
And
biggest
learning how to
thing
counter.
that you know we've just been seeing a lot is how often people are making the Springald unit, and the intent of the Springald unit is a unit that counters siege weapons, but we've sort of been seeing that it is more of a generalist type of unit is how it's
just a better
performing in the game right
crossbow.
now, where it's kind of just
It's
generally
more
pretty
cost
good in a
effective
lot
than
of different
building like 3
situations.
crossbows.
So that is something in the future we'll be looking at.
And it costs
in
3
terms of
supplies, so
make it sort of more specifically
it does better.
filling that precise role we had in mind of being anti-siege weapon and not just sort of like anti
Everything.
units, you know, like it's just kind of good against units.
So
in
yeah,
general.
more
So
bonus
that's
against siege, less
one of
base
the
damage.
balance tasks
Easy
we're
enough.
looking at for the future.
That one is already built in. And I
Awesome.
think you would just tune it
I think we're
more.
getting pretty close to time here, so I do want to come to both you, Quinn and Eric. One last chance. If there's any final words you want to say.
Springalds
any
can't shoot over walls. They can shoot
small,
through
Did I say
palisades.
small teases? Anything you want to say
So-
to the community out there as well as they've been playing? Oh no. Do I have to mute Eric and turn off his video?
Yes, you do. Yeah, no, I mean we're excited. These are. I think there's some great changes
Wow.
in the patch. You know,
Jesus.
I'd love to see the feedback.
Whoa!
I know it says winter, but that's.
Well, sorry,
it's pretty
my
cold
bad.
as we speak already, at least in the north. So might be coming sooner than you think.
Ooh, that's exciting. That's a good one.
So yeah,
Alright,
multiple
Eric's-
times,
chat is
heavily
telling me I
implied
have
this
to
year.
give you a turn to talk. They're saying let Eric talk, hashtag let Eric talk. So I don't know, maybe we need like a 3-hour live stream of just Eric at some
Yes.
point. But
Let him speak.
your turn, Eric.
Unironically,
What do you got to
Actually,
say?
you know what? No, sorry. Before Eric starts, I think what would be kind of cool, and I think we did talk about this, is we may do something post-update to talk about just some of the more philosophy behind it. So stay tuned for that. It is getting into a time where a lot of the dev team members do sign off for the winter break. So we will sort that out. If not, then something early next year. But yeah, definitely, I think Eric would be cool to get you, Taylor, Zach, and Colin if he's willing to jump in and talk a little bit more.
really, we had a
little
good
round
start,
table
and
about
the
just
other people
balance
are
in
just
general,
fluff
right?
here.
So-
Yeah, super
Yeah.
cool. Totally. So
Nerdy
maybe I
fun.
could leave
Super nerdy
people
fun.
with one last note, I guess.
Yes, go for it.
No, that's
Okay.
that's their job.
So yeah,
Quinn.
definitely, you know, we're looking
Quinn,
at
don't
the
murder him.
civs and like
He's
you
just
know,
doing his best.
civs that are on the top versus civs that are on the bottom in terms of win rate
He's
and
young
rate and
enough
stuff
to
like that.
actually care.
So
Quinn, stop.
Definitely
Please.
looking at China for doing some buffs in the future. And for 1.2, we have a pretty cool change for the repeater crossbowman, which you know we're sort of playing with it and
Fire
you know, we're looking at our
arrows.
math and our numbers and stuff like that, and like mathematically, like it had a very high damage output, right? And the sort of like role
He's
of the
reading
unit
something.
is it's
He's
like
reading
you know,
chat,
it's firing
probably.
this like rapid fire sort of weapon, right? So these bolts, they're not very powerful, but they're shooting a lot of them, right? So we're looking
They don't do
for a unit
anything
that
better
would
than
be
the
very
archer.
weak than
They
against
barely
armored
counter
units, like the
archers.
man-at-arms at the knights, because they're just their armor is just blocking all these shots. Whatever,
Yes!
they don't care, right? But when you're fighting against unarmored things like archers or spearmen or something like that, like you
making him
should be able to
better
like
again?
mow them down pretty effectively, right? So we're doing like some testing, and we have like this sort of like unit tester where we can just clash armies into each other and just sort of like see what happens, right? And the repeater crossbowman, it was just
You do.
it was just really underperforming.
That's
in these
interesting,
tests.
Eric.
And
Tell us
it was,
more.
It was kind of confusing why, because you know it's got high damage, like it should be doing really well, and so then we can sort of like you know update the game and then like test again, update and test, right? So I was like, oh, what if I increase its damage by 1 more, and it like did the same, and I'm like, okay, what if I give it another damage, and it was still like not doing that well, and I was like, oh,
It's
what's
because
going on
of
with this unit?
armor.
This is so weird.
You know
right?
exactly why.
And
Tell me
what
you know
I
why.
realized in like watching these armies fight out each other is that it was just it having more damage. It was just overkilling the other units, Like it
Yeah,
was
that's
it
a
was just
real issue.
firing
That's
its
a
whole
game
clip,
engine
and it just
issue.
did so much damage. And
It's a
it
real
killed the
game
unit, but it
engine
kept
issue.
shooting, like at the unit, even though it was dead, right? So it's just wasting like so many shots. So like giving it
Stop
more
pointing
damage
out
wasn't
issues
even
with the
helpful,
engine,
which
Eric.
was,
Shut
like,
up.
Crazy, right? Because you're like, oh, of course, more damage is going to be better, right?
It's an
So
obvious
then basically what we
problem.
came to with the analysis of like, well, how do we fix this problem? Like, this is kind of weird, right? And what we figured out is you kind of just need to have more of these units so that they'll, be shooting at a bunch of different targets, and it kind of gets sprayed out sort of like all over the place. So what we did to fix the problem was to make the unit cheaper, and make it so that you can build it faster. So it's more kind
Okay.
of like an archer or spearman sort of in terms of like the
Okay.
cost of the
You
unit.
know,
And then we sort of set the health.
there
to be
aren't
equivalent
that
to those
many
types of
trash units
So
that are unique.
It's
I will
definitely
say that
very
would make
fun
it
now
unique.
to build like an army of these repeaters and have them like spraying their
That
crossbows
does sound
at
like
people.
the
So,
the
yeah, really excited
chocobos
for that
from
one going in
AOE2.
for Chinese in the winter update. So hope you guys enjoy it.
All right. So that was definitely
Yeah,
a doozy
that
of
was
a
a
tease.
whole
Thank you,
process.
Eric. I was asked,
He said
actually-
real quick. He's like, you had
Real quick, like
That was a
like
whole
5
complete-
minutes.
Just 5 minutes.
If you guys
What are
stopped
you doing?
chastising Eric for a full minute every
Eric,
time he
you're the
spoke
reason our
for
streams run
2,
long.
we would
It's all
have
Eric's fault.
50% more content.
I did have a request internally from the dev team who's watching, because the dev team is actually watching a stream. So there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
number of folks who are. I have a certain individual asking if we can tease a thing called Global Build Queue a little bit.
You mean the thing
Tease
that
a
exists in
tiny bit.
Age of Empires 2?
You just did. You just did.
Okay.
We already did it. Maybe the dev should pay attention
Wait,
to
is-
their
I'm
own
pretty sure it's
people.
in our,
We're getting an insight
it's
into
in
the
our
dev
update,
process here.
So it's not like I've unveiled anything
We want more.
crazy.
More teas.
More tease.
Yeah, I will say for the Shuganu,
You know what? To be fair, I feel like that could be for another stream. So I will.
they
leave
were
that
as
there.
I've read the actual Wikipedia articles to back up my points. The repeater crossbows were like villagers had them and shit, just like as like a handgun kind of weapon, just for self-defense. So having them be cheap and en masse is actually historically accurate. Not that we give a shit, but like if you're gonna do it, might like it fits. There you go. Like
Over 100+ balance changes, numbers and numbers of bug fixes.
Like the
we've got some
actual
UI
army would have been like
performance
fire
and,
arrows or
minimap
grenadiers or
adjustments. So,
something
yeah,
fancy
there's
like
gonna be
that.
a
If
lot
you're
of
gonna
stuff
cost
that's coming
gold
for
and
this,
shit,
so
like
when we get it out there, as Quinn and Eric have teased, a potential early holiday present is what they said. So keep your ears and eyes out on our Age social channels, and we will probably provide an update.
Imagine a Vil upgrade for them to have
earlier
repeater
than the
crossbows?
actual date, so that
AOE2
you
has.
guys can
You know
start,
what, Eric,
going
Eric.
through all that,
Read
as much
Wikipedia.
as we can. So keep an
Villagers
eye out.
go into
We
the
will
archery range,
announce ahead of time
Juganus
when it's coming
come out.
so that people can be
Historically accurate, and you get to make a
Awesome.
decision:
Thanks so much.
economy
Looking forward
or
to it.
army.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
And good
Quinn
villagers have
and
both.
Eric,
It costs
Elliot as
like you got to be
well.
in a
But
certain
Quinn and
dynasty.
Eric, it's
It's
always
not
a
the
pleasure
same
to
as the
have
English.
the two of
It's
you on
different.
joining
It's an
us.
army unit.
Chat
Like-
loves both of you. They love having this discussion going on. So thank you for joining us, and we will definitely have you back in the future. I'm sure if we don't, chat would just yell at us. So
We're just getting a constant spam of Eric. Where's Eric? Where's Eric? Where's
Yeah.
Quinn? Where's Eric? Where's Zach? Where's Quinn? Where's Eric? Yeah.
I think he's being generous to
before we
Quinn
leave,
there.
I have one
I
final
don't-
question for Eric. Cats are wondering. We asked Quinn about his cat's names. What is your plant's name behind you?
Yes, somebody asked
my
about the
plant.
plant.
Does
This
your
is-
plant have a name?
I have multiple plants. I don't know if we can see all of them. And
See, that's the
sadly, we're
obvious-
actually missing. Oh, my favorite plant. I had it hanging up in the old place. You guys will
Yeah.
remember. It was
Yeah,
above
from
me, and it
previous
was
streams,
like
yeah.
Okay, but what was
growing
its name?
down from the sky,
Okay,
like all the way
I get
to the
it.
ground.
No, I
and,
don't
like,
need the
out
whole
the
process
window.
for the
I thought it
plants.
was a
So-
wallpaper.
So what's the name?
I don't. Is it
Getting
weird to
jungly.
name your plants? Is that like a thing people do? Because
I don't know,
I
people were just asking because I think some of the folks have noticed the streams, especially if you've watched Eric on stream and on part of the.
I like how he has a
previous,
hanging plant on
stuff
his
that you've
desk.
seen that his plant
I
slowly
mean,
growing
like,
more and
what
more,
else you gonna do? Like, you're
definitely,
gonna take it
people are
out?
just
I
interested,
don't know.
you know? If you don't have
It's
a name,
cold.
it's okay.
If you
yeah,
don't
I
have a
mean,
name,
maybe
It'll
like
die.
Harold or something. You know, like a not like a
God,
standard
it's
name, but
or Zero Empires or anything like that.
I'd start to get creepy.
That would be really. All right. On that note, I think we're gonna wind this up. Wind this down.
shut it down.
Oh, yeah.
Game over. We're done.
I'm gonna get a message from Zero Empire Zach over here. He's like, "What are you guys talking about?" I'll send him your way. Your way over there. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. This was the first post-launch stream we've done. Again, we do want to look at doing more of these. We want to also bring on some different craft-focused discussions as well from some Relicans. We're going to try to make that happen. Some of this stuff will be in the new year. Some we'll try to figure out the exact timing and all of that, and we will keep you updated. But in the meantime, again, you can go over to the website and take a look at the roadmap, see what is coming. Stay tuned to our socials. Come join us in Discord, talk in the forums, all of this stuff. We're around, we're here, we're listening, and we just want to see all of you really enjoy the game. That's what
Me
we're here
too.
for.
Absolutely. And the game's getting better and better every update. We're adding awesome new stuff
Hard
for you guys.
not to.
So very exciting future for Age of Empires 4.
Yeah. All right.
Keep the feedback coming. As Grant said, keep it coming.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
You know what?
So much,
You've
everyone, and
motivated
we will
me,
see you
Quinn,
next
and
time.
mostly Eric.
Bye, guys.
I will
Alright.
keep the feedback
Bye,
coming
everyone.
instead of just
See you.
dejectedly waiting. At least after they fix the obvious bug right now, but there you go. You know what? My feelings after watching that, you know what was a big part of this game for me? Like, personally, a big deal, like I talked about David Kim, was having people that you knew cared. Like, even if you disagreed with their methods and the results, you had people you knew cared. And that is a big deal. That is the issue with this game as well right now. All those people went and, like, made their own company or some shit. Because they literally couldn't care support into existence. Pretty much. What that told me, that stream told me, is they care. Eric cares. I don't envy Quinn, because Quinn is the go-between. Quinn, like, the shit stops, the shit rolls down to Quinn from above, and it rises up from below. And that's Quinn's job. All right? I'm sorry, Quinn, but, like, you signed up for this. So that's where he is. Like, Mr. Villager over there. At least that's my interpretation of what a game director does. They have to manage expectations from both directions. Yeah, Quinn's beard was bushy and black before he started the project, but now, much like his cat, much more pepper. I don't know. I don't. So, here we are. You know, you gotta fix the fucking bugs, though. Like, you can't, like, I want Eric to be able to make those changes. You gotta fix the fucking bugs. It's a real issue. You can't have these bugs for so long. They need to be fixed within, like, a week on the outside. Like, other companies and other games, these bugs are fixed in a day or hours. Like, these seem like they shouldn't be things that take a week or two. Like, I will give you months for the hotkeys, for, like, functionality, even for balance changes. But, like, some of the bugs, like, they need to be fixed faster. Like, that is a big issue right now. That is my biggest complaint overall. Is it doesn't seem like they will be. So there are, like, multiple weeks now where I'm like, do I actually care about playing when... So, like, for example, right now they referenced it. They know it exists. But this kind of stuff keeps cropping up. Like, for those who don't know, and I mean, they already referenced it. I'm not advertising it. It's already well advertised. There's a bug right now that when you get the 30% more HP building upgrade, you can now cancel buildings and get 30% extra resources back. So, this can result in you getting 100,000 of each resource in under a minute. So what that means is fucking spaghetti. It's like a cheat code that anyone can do if they get to that Imperial Age we're so excited about. So, like, this is the most glaring of any so far. If this is not, like, any Civ can do this. So it's not even like Rus or Mongol. This is everyone. Everyone has this upgrade. So that is a concerning one. So like the HRE, at least the HRE also get cheat codes, right? So yeah, everybody rushes Imperial to get infinite money. Like, I've won games where my opponent has tens of thousands of resources through building the right army, but, like, if people can just be... That's super bro. That needs to be fixed. If that's not fixed by the end of the week, I don't trust... Like, I feel sorry for Eric. The thing is, that's not Eric's job. That is not... There's no way... If that's Eric's job, then there's a problem. There better be people whose job is fixing that and not Eric, right? Like, his job is to design the game. Someone else's job to make sure the game fucking works. Like, oh wait, the Mongols don't get it? So the Mongols get the other things. Mongols don't get court architects. So Mongols in a dramatic... Everyone gets infinite money but the Mongols. Not like Mongols really like going to Imperial Age, but whatever. It is Eric's job? Well, Eric, fix the game. Like, what do I mean by this? What I mean is, these kind of things need to get nailed down immediately, and whoever, like, if it is his job, then there you go. Somebody didn't test it. It needs to be, like, okay, it's broken. It needs to be fixed now. I'm not gonna play until it's fixed. The other ones were at least something specific. I just can't do it, because every game you're just feeling like, if I go to the late game, is somebody gonna break the game and use cheat codes, essentially? And then I'll just complain. So, like, something needs to be done now. And that's how you can gain a lot of goodwill. With that stream, with that roadmap, the roadmap is shitty. The roadmap doesn't really tell you anything. The stream told you so much more, and maybe too much, according to the rest of people who are not Eric. Like, the roadmap did not inspire much confidence. The existence of the roadmap did, and then you read it, it's like, You're not going to play? No, I'm not going to play until this is fixed. And, like, if this was almost any other game I played, this would have already been fixed by the time I'm talking about it. This was over 12 hours ago on a new release game. Feels like it should be fixed day of, right? Like, I don't think it's an unrealistic expectation. At the very least, disable the upgrade or something. Like, like, just make it so nobody can research it. If that's what it takes, like, it's not a fix, but it fixes the problem. It's not like that was a popular upgrade anyways. 700 gold for 30% building HP? What is that, one more cannon shot? Like, or 5,000 more arrows? Like, but at least slap a band-aid on it while people are bleeding out. Explain? Okay. Explain what game next day are people fixing it? Alright, there's this small indie game called StarCraft 2. So there was a bug in StarCraft, like, we're gonna keep referencing this, because it was not Blizzard 2010. This was 2019. This was well past the glory days of Blizzard. This happened. Alright? There was a bug that you could load bunkers into your command center. And then they could shoot with Marines in them out of the command center while flying. Which is a little blatant, right? Like,
Nothing left.
So, that bug... Wait, that was 2020. That wasn't even... Oh, that was a year ago. That was a year ago. So, well past Blizzard of yesteryear. Let me see how long it took to fix. All right. In less than 12 hours, they disabled the ladder, and it was fixed within 24. Just because of that game-breaking bug. They disabled the ladder first, so that way they could put some time in and make sure they fixed it. And then within 24 hours, they fixed it and hotfixed. Like, that wasn't my video. That was someone just showing it off. But yes. But like, I don't understand what games people are playing that they expect a game-breaking bug from a new release to take 2 weeks. That is completely and utterly unacceptable. Like, that is not like, what you telling me the entire team went on vacation? Like, that is no one there? I stand by that. Like, I want all those changes. The bug right now is you can get infinite money with an upgrade. Like, I agree with that entire stream. I like the direction. I agree that there's a lot left to do, but it seems like they have people who want to do it, and they have the right idea how to do it. But this kind of stuff is a real fucking problem. So, like, I'm willing to, like, they can turn it around. They fix it tomorrow, fine, okay? Or the next day. Like, honestly, by the end of the week, we'll show they're improving. Our standards are already low and it's not even 2.5 weeks. The town center thing was pointed out in the beta, the closed beta, when there were Mongols. The guy who did it to me, the controller dude, used it in the closed beta and pointed out in the closed beta that this is probably a fucking issue. Like, but it was not fixed until everybody started doing it after release. So, the relic thing. Well, the relics have always been hard to click on. Yeah, like No. Like, if you're gonna pretend it's a competitive RTS, this needs to be fixed. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. Like, the only excuse is, well, you already gave us your money, so you'll get your fixes when we damn well please. That's it. Like, that's what it feels like if you take 2 weeks on each of these. Oh, wait, which relic bug? The company, the item, or the civilization one? I don't... Which one are we talking about? So, they said they're fixing how hard it is to click on things. Oh, the Rus relic bug. Yeah, that is also game-breaking. But at least it's civilization-specific. Like, that's not great. The obvious and terrible band-aid would be disable Rus and quick match. Like, it wouldn't be a good solution, but it would be better than just leaving it and hoping people don't do it. Like, it's not, you can't put it on the players. You cannot put it on the players here. Like, you cannot be like, well, shitty people will do it. No, that's a stupid and terrible excuse. Gamers have always been shitty. At least they paid $60 for this shittiness. Like, my point is, they put it in the patch notes. People can go look up how to do it if they didn't know how to do it. So they advertised it exists without fixing it, which is not good. This is not a good practice. I know ignoring it is bad, but like, they could have left it on the list of known issues that no one's gonna fucking click on, by the way, and they don't. And also, not that many issues are on it, even though they say there are more. They could have just left it there. But now everybody knows, because everybody read the 14-word long patch notes, and now there's this bug too. these are stopping people like Eric, or maybe it's Eric stopping people like Eric from like, I want to argue whether or not French is OP. I want to argue whether or not French is actually not as powerful as people thought, or if because everybody was constantly playing against French and preparing specific builds to counter French, that's why they were able to in the tournament. I want to have that discussion. But if somebody manages to make it to Imperial Age through the Rams and the Flames, they get infinite cheat code money, then I think that most of it is obsolete. Like, I think that takes heavy. I know that the stream kind of intentionally, like, you can't sit there and list off your bugs list on the stream. Obviously, that's not what they're going to do. But you also can't... If I want to play this game pretty well, I'm in the top 500. Not super good, but there are tens of thousands of players. Like, I have no interest in one out of however many games potentially just losing because someone's going to use an exploit that should have been fixed. Like, or not even knowing. Because you can't look at the game after, because you can't look at the map after the game without going to the buggy replay screen. Like, there's a lot of issues that kind of compound one another, right? Like, is it supposed to be a reward for getting to No, obviously not. Like, here's the blog for the whole thing. Yeah, that was like the upgrade I would check after every other upgrade is done, and I already have 12,000 gold. That's how little people were getting it, so that's probably why nobody figured it out. Does the resource refund upon canceling a building depending on how far along? I like the theory that was the plan originally. In AoE 2, apparently that's how it works. If you just started the building, immediately cancel, you get like near 100%. Almost done, you get like a few pieces of stone back. That would be the explanation for why this bug exists. But in AoE 4, you get a full refund at 1% or 99%. Which surprised me. I was not canceling stuff because I thought I wouldn't get as much money back until I finally realized. So apparently, not only do you get full money, but you get bonus money because it was probably tied to the HP of something. So all the numbers are tied. Like, so if it's an obvious solution, it should be fixed. Like, if they could fix it tomorrow, they should fix it tomorrow. But it might break more things because of it, and that's the problem. So here's the plan. Here's my plan of action. It's not ideal, and they got a ton of blowback for the last patch. But, like, people should have expected the patch, though it was almost painfully disappointing for a lot of people. I mean, I was saying it the whole time, like, you're not going to get anything on this patch. In fact, I argued that while telling people there's going to be a patch is good, they also might stay silent a lot of the time because people are shitty. And look what happened. So that might be an argument for never talking to people, which is not a good solution. Here's what you do. You just disable the upgrade. If you can't just disable the upgrade, you disable the upgrade for now, and then in 2 weeks when you get around to it, this is not a game-changing upgrade until it's a cheat code. So my solution, if you can't fix it tomorrow, just disable the upgrade. Push a hotfix that turns on to off. And if you can't do that, then there's even bigger problems. Like the tech tree already lies to you half the time anyways. Just add it to the list, right? Like, I don't feel like I can play the game with this. I know that's a bitch move, but this is the biggest one so far. The town center was shitty, but people got bored of it. This is something people will do, especially in your shitty team games. Okay? When everybody's just doing whatever they want anyways and nobody's attacking each other. Like, it's like people in team games who want to feel like they're good at the game but actually suck and can't handle the anxiety of 1v1. Those are the people that do this shit. Like, at high level 1v1, most people don't. Because nobody gives a shit and there's not an actual ladder. Like, that nobody was doing the Mongol TCs after the first couple days because people wanted to actually play the game, right? Yeah, it's also the reinforced defenses. Yeah, it's a problem. But so disable the upgrade and fix it right. But there's a band-aid and then there's treatment. 2 things, not 1 thing, 2 things. That's how you do it. I'm not a doctor of any kind, but I do have an internet stream, so. Like, you get shot in the hand, and people aren't like, well, we'll get you to the hospital next week. You put a Band-Aid on. There you go. Okay? Can't use the hand for a bit. But, like, it's just like, just leave it. We'll go to the hospital next week. All right? We'll Google how to fix a gunshot wound to the hand. And then maybe, do you have a Band-Aid? Do you know how much those cost? Like, so two parts of it. And I want to get back to the actual, I don't have any trust that will happen, though. They have not built any trust with me as a relatively new fan of their company, at least the games they make. They have not built any trust that will ever happen. This is the opportunity. They keep getting opportunities because shit keeps breaking. It was already broken, people just figured it out, is what's happening. They're uncovering new broken shit. Which is going to happen in any game. So fix it.